Secretary Mnuchin, I want to make sure that we're all operating here with the same understanding. Even though you are not sworn in, do you realize you are under oath?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you familiar with the May 23rd letter I sent to you along with several of my Democratic colleagues on this committee?
Yes, I am.
Do you understand that this committee not only has jurisdiction but a responsibility to oversee the activities of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network?
Yes.
Given that the Treasury maintains these types of records, and given your department's statements that the agency takes responsiveness to congressional requests very seriously and is committed to providing useful and appropriate responses to requests from congressional members, is there some reason why I did not get a response to the letter that I sent May 23rd?
So, Ranking Member Waters, first of all, let me thank you for your service to California. Being a resident of California, I appreciate everything that you've done for the community there.
I don't want to take my time up with
I
how
also
great I
have
am.
appreciated the opportunity to meet with
Reclaiming
you
my time.
several times
Reclaiming my
when
time.
we were doing our
Reclaiming my time.
The time belongs to the gentlelady from California.
Let me just say to you, thank you for your compliments about how great I am, but I don't want to waste my time on me. I want to know about the May 23rd letter. You know about it? Why did you not respond to me and my colleagues?
I was going to answer that.
Just please go straight to the answer.
Mr. Chairman, I thought when you read the rules, you acknowledged that I shouldn't be interrupted and that I would have
reclaiming
the
my
opportunity.
time. What he failed to tell you was when you're on my time, I can reclaim it. He left that out, so I'm reclaiming my time. Please, will you respond to the question of why I did not get a response, me and my colleagues, to the May 23rd letter?
Well, I was going to tell you my response.
Just tell me.
Okay. So, first of all, okay, let me just say that the Department of Treasury has cooperated extensively with the Senate Intel Committee, with the House
Reclaiming
Intel
my time,
Committee, with the
reclaiming
Senate
my time,
Judiciary
reclaiming
Committee.
my time,
Okay.
reclaiming
Matter of
my
fact,
time.
Mr. Secretary,
reclaiming my
the time belongs to the gentlelady from California.
Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, I don't understand the rules because I
Reclaiming
thought I
my
was allowed to
time.
answer questions.
Reclaiming my time. Would you please explain the rules and do not take that away from my time?
We will give the gentlelady adequate time. So what I read, Mr. Secretary, were statements of the ranking member and Democratic colleagues on how administration witnesses should be treated, not necessarily the way they will be treated. So the time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but I assure you majority members will allow you to answer the question when it is our time.
Okay, so what I was saying is that we have provided substantial information. We believe there's significant overlap. And matter of fact, I would say that we spoke to your Chief Oversight Counsel yesterday. We have been responsive, and we are trying to coordinate with you the response, and we've suggested that you get the information through the other committees. But I would like to emphasize we believe we've been very
Reclaiming
responsive.
my time.
And we'll continue to do so.
Thank you very much. You left a message yesterday, or someone on staff left a message.
No, we didn't leave a message.
Reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time,
Counsel.
reclaiming my time. You did not respond. You left a message. Let us keep going. If a bank identifies suspicious activity related to potential money laundering or sanctions violations by the Trump Organization involving Russian persons, would such a bank have a legal obligation to report it to FinCEN?
Can you repeat your question, please?
If a bank identifies suspicious activity related to potential money laundering or sanctions violations by the Trump Organization involving Russian persons, would such a bank have a legal obligation to report it to FinCEN?
Yes, if a U.S. institution had any suspicious activity, they would be required to file a SAR, which would go to FinCEN.
Thank you. If FinCEN received reports of suspicious activity involving potential violations of money laundering or sanctions involving President Trump, his immediate family, and associates, would FinCEN immediately share it with the Justice Department, Special Counsel Mueller, or other interested law enforcement officials, or would you generally wait until you received a request from law enforcement for this type of information?
Let me just comment that I can't comment on any specific actions of FinCEN because they're confidential, but I can assure you that FinCEN would respond to any issues revolving the Trumps no different than they would respond to anybody else.
And so the question is whether or not you would, FinCEN would immediately share it with the Justice Department, Special Counsel Mueller, and other interested law enforcement officials. Or again, would you generally wait until you received a request from law enforcement for this type of information?
Again, what I would assure you is that FinCEN would respond to those situations no different than anybody else, and FinCEN and Treasury have cooperated extensively with, as I said before, the 3 other committees.
If it was widely reported in the press that a close advisor of the president was being investigated for money laundering using anonymous shell companies and bank accounts located in Cyprus, would your department proactively seek to obtain relevant information from foreign financial intelligence units where such activity reportedly took place, or would you wait until a specific law enforcement request came in?
Again, I'm not going to comment on hypothetical situations. FinCEN would handle these situations no different than any other situation.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request, pursuant to our memorandum, to ask for additional 5 minutes.
Gentlelady is granted an additional 5 minutes.
Thank you, and I'm not asking for specificity. I'm asking for generally the way you would handle these questions that I have presented to you. Let me continue. Have any Treasury Department employees expressed concerns to you, or are you aware of concern among Treasury staff about the relationship between President Trump and Russia?
No, nobody's expressed those concerns to me.
Given that you were finance chair of the Trump campaign, which is accused of soliciting illegal in-kind contributions from a foreign country, have you recused yourself from any work related to Russia or other foreign countries?
I'm not aware of those accusations that the campaign has taken those types of contributions, nor have I recused myself from anything at this moment, since I believe I have no conflicts.
Thank you. Trump's red line on investigations of his personal finances. In a recent review, President Trump made it clear that he considered any investigation by Robert Mueller into the president's personal finances a red line that shouldn't be crossed. Secretary Mnuchin, have you had any conversations with the president or any official at the White House in which it was directly stated or implied that supporting any investigation into Trump's finances would in some way be crossing a line?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? I heard the first part, just the last part of it.
In a recent review, President Trump made it clear that he considered any investigation by Robert Mueller into the president's personal finances a red line that shouldn't be crossed. Secretary Mnuchin, have you had any conversations with the president or any official at the White House in which it was directly stated or implied that supporting any investigation into Trump's finances would in some way be crossing a line?
No, I've had no conversations along those lines. Quite the contrary.
As Secretary of the Treasury, you chair the Interagency Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, known as CFIUS.
Yes, I do.
Which evaluates the sale of U.S. businesses to foreign entities to determine whether such sales undermine our national security. Given the significant pressure President Trump has exerted over government officials with key oversight responsibilities, from Sally Yates to James Comey to Robert Mueller to Jeff Sessions, how can we be sure that you, in your own oversight role, will appropriately review the sale of assets or property to foreign entities by top administration officials? This includes, for example, reviews involving the sale of assets by the White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, and the President's son-in-law and advisor, Jared Kushner, can you assure us that you would recommend blocking such a sale in the event it indicates the foreign entity may seek to unduly influence U.S. policy, even if doing so may jeopardize your position as Secretary?
Well, let me assure you, I take my position as CFIUS very seriously. I have not had anybody in any way try to influence me in that position, nor would I let them. And I would use my judgment, as I have, to take the seriousness of the CFIUS responsibility.
And as I understand it, you have such a matter under consideration relative to Mr. Scaramucci and the sale of a huge property to a Chinese interest. Is that correct?
Ranking Member Waters, I think as you're aware, all actions at CFIUS are highly confidential, and it would be inappropriate for me to comment one way or another on any potential transaction and even acknowledge whether any transaction is being reviewed in this public format.
Is it true that Mr. Scaramucci was considered for a position in the administration, but because of this questionable sale, that he could not go forward for fear of not being confirmed, but yet he's now in the administration? And does this in any way influence your decision that you have to make about that sale?
Again, I want to acknowledge that I am not making any comment about any potential decision that I may make about a confidential item, but I will say I have not been aware that he was ever considered for a position that required confirmation within the administration.
Thank you very much, and I yield back the balance of my time.